including the difficulties we have found in the year, to be able to move into the next year with some kind of clean slate, I mean S, so that we are able to move with everybody whom we represent in this aviation industry. Therefore, this being the apex of all of the activities of the Aviation Week, which has been our aviation tradition all over, is a good thing. We always think we should be able to account. And the people who are in this room are just simply a few, but the rest are all watching us on media platforms, as you have heard. So allow me, with those words of introduction, Chief Guest, to move into the real presentation, which is being kindly projected on the screen. Go to the next slide. I start with the outline. Yes. The introduction, part of which I have done, but also to remind ourselves about the mandate of UCAA in its entirety, the air traffic performance at Entebbe International Airport, also a bit of the air, reminding ourselves of the air operators and the numbers that have been increasing, the infrastructure upgrade of the project, other milestones, global trends, future plans, and of course challenges. Just to welcome you once again to this meeting, which is of course an opportunity, as I have said, to interact with you, our valued stakeholders, and update you, the industry players, on the following, on milestones attained in the course of the year as per last year's plans, which were also explained to you here. At the same time, last year, to provide an update on the plans for 2026 and also get valuable feedback for continuous improvement. Just because I know that you know the mandate of UCA, most of you, but just to remind ourselves, and these are really, the mandate are stated in the Act of Parliament that we currently have, and of course summarized, that we are here to promote the safe, secure, regular and efficient use and development of the civil aviation, to advise government in relation to civil aviation policy matters and international conventions and other legal instruments, regulation of air transport in Uganda, management and development of airports in the country for now, and provide a provision of air traffic and navigation services, among others. These are just key mandates. Let's start with the air traffic performance at Entebbe International Airport. I should have said, of course, and these other airports in the country. This is a graphic representation of what is happening, but of importance to note, if you look at the at international passengers, start with international passengers, those bars are showing obviously increase in the number of passengers that we receive every year. The first year we started with was 2024, rather 2023, 24, 24, 20, 23, 24, 24, 25, I'm not seeing 20, and then you can see 23, 24, and 25. You see the number of passengers, how they have been increasing. In fact, if you check, you will see the statistics later in terms of figures. You see that we have almost from last year, the number of passengers have increased almost coming 10%, which is not very very small increase in terms of readiness in facilities and other areas of handling. You can see if we move to, yes, here it is showing 8.8, but I can assure you by the end of this year, which still has 1 month we have not covered, we are likely to hit something like 9.8 to something like 10% increase. This is simply another representation showing the traffic at Entebbe, graphical representation, same as the bar chart you are having. And traffic impact, in the January November 25 traffic of 2,247,000 international passengers has already surpassed the entire 2024 traffic of that figure, even before adding the busy December month. December month is one of our busiest months, and you know why? Because people are moving up and down for Christmas and other things, and New Year. And similarly, January to November 2025, cargo is already at the same level as the entire cargo figure of 2024, again also on the increase. Overall, air traffic registered increase is due to commencement of Uganda Airlines flights to Gatwick, Harare and Kinshasa routes, plus other new air operators joining the Ugandan airspace. Also, the other reason was sustained promotion of tourism by the tourism sector, and we want to thank them so much, and they are here. Resumption of international conferences and major sports events such as the Arab African Congress and the hosting of Chan, among others. Cargo traffic grew as a result of stable economic environment and increased international trade. Our air operators, who are these air operators? Uganda is currently served by 19 international scheduled operators. Of course, these are not the numbers we want. We are trying very hard to increase them. And as a matter of fact, just even yesterday, we had two. Yesterday, we received two air operators. One, Safari Link from Kenya, and this has really unique scheduling of routes from Nairobi to Kisumu to Entebbe. We also, in the evening, received Malawi Airlines. Please, I hope I am pronouncing it properly, because there is a tendency to call it Air Malawi, but this is Malawi Airlines, directly from Blantyre to Entebbe every day, and has many passengers. There are 27 licensed operators. A new license was granted to Arosas Air. Renewal of license were granted to 3 air operators. New operators of new routes, FunJet Express Limited commenced flights on September 29th between Nairobi and Entebbe. FlyNav commenced flights on the Riyadh-Entebbe route effective January 16, 2025. Uganda Airlines commenced 1 new route to London Gatwick in May 2025. Malawi Airlines, I have already talked about it, and Sun Safari Link. Those ones I've just talked about them. They were received yesterday. Uganda also participated in the 17th ICAO Air Service Negotiations ICANN 2025 event in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. And usually when we go there, we are trying to negotiate and persuade air operators to come to Uganda. The BASA is bilateral air service agreement. Negotiations were held with 6 countries: Argentina, Republic, this is a new one, Eswatini, it is a review. Denmark is new. Guyana is a new one. Norway is a new one. And Sweden is a new one. Uganda, Basa was signed and bilateral consultations were held with Malaysia during the aforementioned event. The Uganda Central African Republic bilateral air service agreement was also signed on 16th May in Kampala. Uganda also with Latvia signed the BASA on the sidelines of the Latvia African Forum in Latvia. The Uganda-Ethiopian BASA was also signed on April 4th in Addis Ababa. And to date, Uganda has concluded bilateral air service agreements with 64 countries. Many of them are ongoing and will be updating the country on what? Then infrastructure upgrade. We have been really very busy in infrastructure upgrades, if you have noticed. And many of these have been going on unnoticed, unfortunately, because it is also our intention that we really deal with this away from the public eye many times, because if you do that, if you promise and then you don't do it quickly, then you face the challenges of being really severely criticized. And we are very much alive to those. But we completed 20,000 square meter passenger terminal building, and this building features 3 additional aero bridges, bringing the total of the aero bridges to 5. And 24 new check-in counters, in addition to the existing 22 and 14 self-check-in counters. This is our new terminal extension, which we are no doubt going to open in phases, starting with January. But the building is there, you can see. When you go there, you can see. Even the inside, many people have had a chance of inspecting it inside there. And you can see many of the state-of-the-art technologies that are inside there. And these things are very costly. Ugandans, I want to tell you that many of us who are very deeply engaged in these terminal extensions and constructions are very expensive. The terminal building is expected to be opened to the public in a phased manner starting with January, as I have just said. And once open, the terminal capacity will be enhanced from the current 2 million passengers per year to at least 3.5 million passengers annually. And of course, this is within our strategic plan. Fellow Ugandans, we are not saying that this is the ultimate. Rather, we are doing what we can to move towards the target of getting our number of passengers at 10 million passengers in the next 10 years. And we are moving in that direction. This is, of course, the pictorial representation of what is happening at Entebbe International Airport. Please don't think that this is Dubai or anywhere else. This is Entebbe. This is Entebbe, actually. You are likely to think that this is not in Entebbe. This is actually, physically, you can touch it in Entebbe. This is one of the lounges in that new terminal building on the basement, on the ground floor. Again, this is Entebbe, it's not anywhere else. The exterior of the new terminal building, and the right is the part of the interior. That is the exterior, but the interior is the tall one, the one which is tall. This is the air side of the new extension. Maybe I go back to it. We would like the whole of the terminal building, and I will be showing you what we want it to look like at the end of this presentation. This is the new extension, but remember that we have the current terminal building that was completed in the 70s, that of course doesn't look like this. And our task today is to make both of them look like this, in what we have termed as harmonization of the terminal building at Entebbe International Airport. And we are starting on that activity. I want to also tell you that what we have seen, it is extremely difficult to turn an existing building facility into a new facility to look like the one you planned. It is very, 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 very difficult, and you have to do it carefully. And remember, we are doing this without suspending operations. At times, Ugandans, and we welcome this, are not so kind. When they find facilities wanting, they don't actually sometimes immediately understand that we are operating while rehabilitating. But of course, I want to also thank them when something good happens, like happened when we opened our arrival and departure extensions. They were, of course, very, very appreciative, and we got very, very, very good recommendations. And we want to always thank you for that. That now makes us forget the earlier criticism that you always give us. And it is very, very, very refreshing to see that the same people who almost wanted to see, who are criticizing you before, are now coming out in big numbers to appreciate what is happening. And of course, that is the role we always are in every other day. As you know, in the mandate, I also showed you how we are also responsible for the provision of air navigation services as of now. And government embarked on the upgrade and installation of the new navigation systems and landing aids at Entebbe International Airport, Soroti, Kasese, Hoima, and also Guru. Plans to upgrade the navigation aids at Soro and install new navigation aids in Arua are underway. Other nav aids will be considered under the new airport development project. UCAA has also enhanced air-to-ground communication between pilots and ATC through the implementation of VHF, that is external range, an external range network of radios in Entebbe, Soroti, Guru, Masindi, and Kasese. This has also improved two-way communication and coverage within the Entebbe Flight Information Region. Phase 2 is underway, under implementation to address the remaining blind spots that still exist within our airspace. Now, all these are being done at the same time with infrastructure development in Entebbe International Airport. And it has been an ongoing activity that has been there. And we want really to upgrade our air navigation systems. As you see that last bullet, there are still some blind spots in some places which we want to eliminate in the current upgrade. We have also embarked on enhancement of the air traffic control surveillance service to guarantee safety of the airspace. And in the financial year 2025-26, the current radar system at Entebbe will be upgraded to improve coverage and reliability, Coverage means also including those blind spots that we have been existing. And from financial year 2026-27 to 29-30, there is the first acquisition of the state-of-the-art surveillance system, including a backup in the form of an independent overlay based on automatic dependent surveillance to guarantee continuity of service and availability. This means improving the whole of our radar monitoring system. Again, just to inform you that these are not cheap, these are very, very, very heavy investments. And as you know, at times we want to appeal to government, I mean Minister of Finance, to really come in, because these are not day-to-day investments that we usually want to see. Because what we usually do with our revenues that we collect in our facilities, usually we are trying to recover the cost, but also we reinvest the thing. But these are major investments that we feel that the government should come in and give us money to do that, because I am going to show you some of the costs that are involved. But so far we have been using our own money to do this, because and we, thanks to the board and the ministry, we sacrifice many other activities to make sure that facilities are there. But that should not be. These are major national assets that the government, the central government should come in and really invest in. But of course, the negotiations are always underway with the Minister of Finance. We have also installed a portable airfield ground lighting system for authority, and this means this is meant to aid night training for the East African Civil Aviation Academy. This is what I'm talking about. UCAA does not get really enough revenues from authority airports to be able to install these very expensive installations. But because we are in charge of aviation, and this is our training academy for the government, we are compelled at times to install these very expensive equipment. But we don't pick any equivalent revenues from there. Of course, as we said, this is really a contribution to government that should always be recognized. We have also installed the dual view RAP scan and walk through metro detector to improve on the effectiveness of the security of Arua Airport. Again, these are investments into these facilities that do not actually correspond with the revenue return. Constructed a taxiway link at Soroti Airfield to address the risk of collision by aircraft. Construction of a car park with a capacity of 100 cars serve the new terminal building at Arua. We have also constructed an airside, landside separation fence at Soroti. Major graveling works were undertaken to restore the deteriorating runway and apron surface at Pakuba and Moroto aerodromes. All this I am talking about, I want to emphasize, actually working with, we are getting the revenues from the rest of the facilities of especially in the international airports, just to upgrade the upcountry aerodromes, which, by the way, even in our documentation, is supposed to be a duty of the central government. But we can't sit back and see deteriorating facilities, and especially those that hinge on safety, and we just simply keep quiet. But surely this is an area that should be addressed. Regarding other improvements, the President of Uganda, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, flagged of work for the taxiway and runway apron at Jinja Aerodrome in January 2025. Works are actually in advanced stages in that on that aerodrome. The works are at 72%, physical performance against 50% financial performance. The expected completion date is April 2026. Well, really clearly, this is about Ginger Aerodrome. Again, in the same spirit. These are the photos ongoing work at Simaka. We are tarmacking it. We have had a facilitation meeting for the East African community. This took place in November 26, 28. We have had a regional meeting of delegates of VSC states who deliberated on the review and progress of ICAO standards strengthening regional cooperation on air transport facilitation. This has just ended last month. Other activities, full-scale emergency activities, these are mandatory activities for the full-scale emergency exercise to assess Entebbe International Airport. The readiness to respond to emergencies was successfully done. This tested interagency coordination, assessed incident command, and evaluated emergency medical services. These are what we are enjoying to do mandatory. These are mandatory exercises for us to do, and they are, of course, audited in our safety audit. Various stakeholders participated in the exercise in compliance with ICAO standards. We also would want to, there's those emerging obligations that we need to do. Together with AirServe, we had Women in Aviation International, Uganda Airlines, and UCAA hosted 100 girls from various schools as part of this Girls in Aviation. Of course, apparently, the whole of aviation, global aviation, we are trying to improve to have inclusion of women in aviation. And there is no any other way other than starting them at that age to make them get interested in aviation activities. And we've been participating in this as part of our stakeholder activities. As I said earlier, this was the launching of Uganda Airlines Gatwick route that took place at Entebbe in May 2025. This is of emphasis because, as we keep saying, Uganda Airlines is a home airline, and the expansion of activity of aviation in Uganda, frankly speaking, will be very, very much easy with the expansion of Uganda Airlines. And that's why we are focusing on Uganda Airlines expansion and routes. And that's why the management and increase of routes of Uganda Airlines have big importance to us. Because one of the ways to promote aviation is directly related to the promotion of Uganda Airlines. And we want to thank government because government really has invested a lot of money in Uganda Airlines, and they are continuing to invest in it as of now. And of course, the Entebbe International Airport expansion, those expansions, yes, they are for many of the airlines that we are continuing to receive. But mainly, Uganda Airlines has a big stake in Entebbe, and each time, that's why we need to have a coordinated planning with them. Their strategic plan must also be discussed always with us to know what the plans are so that we respond in terms of expanding activities, expanding our regulatory services, and so on and so forth. These are the regional meetings that we expect in the coming months and years, and some of them are after global meetings and regional. They are there. Uganda Air Transport Safety Engineering Association hosted International Federal Air Traffic Safety Association meetings, regional meeting in Kampala. The presentation was delivered by one of our staff, and recognition of the presentation, relevance, and in fact, it was invited to present the same paper on the global stage in the Secretariat General Assembly in South Africa in November 2027. This is our participation in regional activities, and our staff are very, very, very much, they participate very much in those activities. In October 2025, the Emirates celebrated 25 years of uninterrupted service in Uganda. It was a big activity, and the Emirates representation is here. The Minister of Works and Transport, General Katumba Wamala, was the chief guest. We expected that Uganda hosted also the 20th Northeastern African and Indian Ocean Satellite Network, NAFSAT Supervisory Board. That was in October. We also resolved, strengthen, and modernize the NAFSAT network through continued regional cooperation. These are ongoing activities that we always do together with colleagues in the region. We revamped and brought a more special carbon lounge. You should see how much the commendations that we have got for carbon all through. And I want to say that we don't get this facility anywhere in this region. This one I am telling you as a matter of fact, not only in this region, but even in some Western countries. I don't want to tell you the country I was in just a few days ago. They don't have a first and business class lounge that is anywhere near Karibuni, the current Karibuni. So one thank Karibuni, one thank everybody who has participated in this. But we facilitated them to do that. And I want to encourage you to go there and see. Again, you might think that you are in another place, not Uganda. The edification of the VVIP facility in Uganda, the rehabilitation work were recently undertaken at the facility, which is used to facilitate the head of state and the visitors. Again, that is in Uganda, it is not anywhere. The global trend. Now, I am calling it a global trend, and the first one is the separation, because we actually are bravely taking this responsibility to separate service provision from the regulator. This process of separation of the regulator and air navigation services provision from the management of airports has progressed with a roadmap presented by ICAO consultants, the authority, which was done in November. And we are doing this, of course, as a global imperative, of course, recommended by ICAO, separate the regulation of civil aviation from the operation. But as maybe I give you the background. As you know, we have been together, we have had a regulator within civil aviation, which also operates airports and provides air navigation services. And because of the size of the industry and the kind of revenues that we have continued to have, we were unable to separate these two until now. Because we do not want separate and then we have every entity fail. So we have kept together with internal separation, which of course was also accepted by ICAO at that time. But the volume and the size of the aviation industry has grown in such a way that this internal separation is not possible going forward. So we started activities ourselves, and the key word is orderly separation, because we do not want anyone to order separation, and then we separate in an organized manner, and then we clear the whole industry. Even as of now, this separation has got to be done extremely carefully to make sure that the industry remains intact. Every entity performing its mandate, especially regulatory mandate, and of course operation also remains an operation. It is not meant separate and then each one goes their own way without sustaining the other. So that is why we are extremely careful. And a three-phase approach was proposed, comprising of the legal and institutional phase, and operational and financial transition phase, and stabilizing and optimal phase. So even as we separate, we are phasing this separation so that we move in an orderly manner until we are able to see the stabilization that is mentioned in that brief. The separation will systematically be accomplished while ensuring that the emerging UCAA and the airport operator can effectively and sustainably perform their independent functions and sustain other critical aviation services. The separation will also eliminate conflicts of interest, which is the key, really. They ensure stronger oversight and enhanced efficiency in service provision, as airport management will focus on prioritizing passengers, customer experience, and airlines. Compliance with international best practices and governance. That is what we are trying to do, achieve through the separation. We also have another sustainable aviation fuel. Of course, these are global imperatives that are being given to us to implement also in our area of operation. The final draft report for the sustainable aviation fuel feasibility study for Uganda was presented to the stakeholders by UCAA in partnership with ICAO and the government of the United Kingdom in December 2025. We got assistance from the United Kingdom. The study confirmed that Uganda has significant potential for using rich biomass resources, an opportunity that could strengthen environmental protection, support energy security, and also unlock new socio-economic benefits for the country. Again, this has been presented to government because you can see the benefits go beyond UCAA. We are among the first African states to voluntarily join ICAO COSIA scheme in 2019, demonstrating the country's strong commitment to green aviation and climate resilience. The SAF program now moves into the next phase, developing national business case study that will guide full implementation of collaboration with the key ministries, UNOC, and aviation stakeholders. Uganda remains committed to contributing to the global aviation decarbonization and positioning itself as a regional leader in sustainable aviation fuel. As I said, these are global. Again, this is another important milestone. Uganda was elected the International Civil Aviation ICAO Council for the 2025-28 term during the 42nd ICAO General Assembly. And at this juncture, I want to mention here that our representative to ICAO, CAB, is our keynote speaker. Please stand up for recognition. I know that I am doing that prematurely. His CV and other description will be presented by a competent authority during the time of his keynote address. I am not going to delve into those, but this was a very, very, very hectic moment for Uganda, I must say. And in this, I want to thank CABS here, our minister, our board, the management of UCAA, and all other stakeholders, our embassy in Canada, for this really, really sustainable. And you are going to see the details what happened. Out of the 185 votes cast by the 192 member states, Uganda secured you really our presence in the international community. And I want to thank you, CABS, for this. Because many countries were getting 140, those kind of things. Even very, very well-to-do countries, I'm not going to mention them here. But I was really, really very, very happy to see that whereas some people think people do not know Uganda, but you can see those are statistics which don't lie. As the high decision-making board of ICAO, the Council is entrusted with setting international standards and recommended practices that govern the aviation industry and worldwide. And we are there at the setting of standards. He's there. He's our representative. So we are not just sending someone from Ethiopia, from where to go and represent us. We can summon him here. He comes, we tell him we want this. Go and represent us. Without going through any other person. So thank you very much, CABS, for that. We are honored to take this responsibility and contribute to advancing safe, secure, and sustainable air transport globally. It is a vote of confidence in Uganda aviation industry and Uganda as a country. This is the picture. This picture was taken in Montreal after the voting. Of course, there were many people who wanted to be with us from other countries, but we say this is now Uganda. Don't joke around. There were many other people. We come to the future plans. One of the future plans, actually, which I want to emphasize here, aviation works with global ratings in both audits in aviation safety, but also in security. As you know, we are currently, and that's why I have not put these statistics here. We have now 72% we scored 72% in aviation safety and 81-point-something% in aviation security. But our main aim is actually to move 81 for security to 90%, but also move 72% to 85%. That is where we want to be. And we can't be there alone without the stakeholders, because our oversight activities are always reflected on how we manage, we oversight the industry, and we can't oversight ourselves. We're oversighting the industry. So when we come to you in the near future, don't think we are harassing you. We are moving towards the target of scoring those targets, and that is really our main activities. In fact, when we separate, we are going to focus only on that, mainly on that. And that is really the plan we have, and I want to move with you, all of you, and Ugandans and the government system, that is what really we are aiming at. And what are the benefits of being scored high in those audits? Because that is when confidence is developed in our aviation system. It is not about, it is about all these airlines you see coming in here are coming here because they are confident about our oversight systems and how safe they will be once they are in this country. So that is our key plan which we have. So when we come to you, please, so far you are responding to our messages, so far, and I want really to ask the people in this room to clap for our air operators, our air navigation service provision, because so far they are really trying within limited budget. And but we shall request you to even do more than you have so far done in the coming, because we have a target to fulfill. Other future plans, the level of drone operations in Uganda is growing and presenting enormous economic opportunities to this country. However, drones pose a number of safety and security concerns which we need to observe. The current tripartite framework focuses on regulatory approval for operations in the segregated airspace, and efforts are underway to acquire an automated unmanned aircraft system management that will enhance monitoring of safety, security, and compliance of unmanned aerial vehicles and drones in the entire airspace. Can I maybe, if you don't mind, let me accept here that the technology of drones, of course, came to us. It found us unprepared, I must tell you. This is an admission, and I am sure even I care. Well, sometimes technology moves so faster than regulation. And we are always improvising. This tripartite framework that we used was actually an improvisation, because on one side it is security threat, but also we can't take away the innovation. Innovation is innovation, you must embrace it. On another side it is safety related, so we had to put in a framework, an improvised framework that would manage the situation as it is, but actually in actual fact we are taken unaware. Not just us in Uganda, but even globally. But right now we are getting to address the matter, and we are really on top of it right now. And we can't guarantee that in the near future we are not going to get more challenges, especially technological advancement-based challenges. I have a challenge here of technology, which I am talking about. We are scheduled to host the African Cup of Nations, AFCON, in 2027. Aviation structure will be key in facilitating the event, and several other international conferences that the country will host in 2026. One, the construction of Kidepo International Airport to boost tourism is being undertaken by the Sharjah Chamber of Commerce, who have signed a memorandum of understanding with them to launch the reviewed 20-year master plan, 20-year Entebbe International Airport master plan for 2026. We are trying to finalize a few things about the Entebbe master plan, but it is hinged on the future of the facilities of the future that we want to have, but also, of course, on the acquisition of enough land for those facilities. An air show expo is planned together. This is done together with the Pilots Association for this coming year in 2026. The last one having taken place in 2023. Completion and operationalization of Kabarega International Airport in Hoima. Again, this is a facility that is planned to facilitate that AFCON. We've been working on it. We are almost in the areas of completion, but still, because we have to work with others, the electricity and other people are still, of course, finalizing there. And you have seen, of course, that the stadium in Hoima is complete. So we don't want to be left behind by those activities. We want also to get an equivalent airport that will facilitate the tournament. These are airfield ground lighting system, the display system at Kabarega International Airport. Again, this is in Uganda, not even in Kampala, but in Hoima. Really very good, a very good runway, I must tell you. You may have issues with other facilities, but don't have any problem with the main runway at Kabarega International Airport. This was very well planned. Government through the UCAA has planned to upgrade Arua into a regional international airport. The planned scope covers a new paved runway, 3,500 meters long and 60 meters wide, taxiways, apron, control tower, terminal building, fuel facilities, access road and car parks. The second phase shall include expansion of the terminal facilities, cargo center, and related infrastructure. I want to tell you about Arua. Arua is currently standing at the congruence, maybe the right word would be the hinterland, of several countries. There is South Sudan, Central African Republic, from Congo, who know Arua more than they know the other side. I can tell you that. So we are actually missing an opportunity of making Arua one of our big aviation facilities for the benefit of an international passengers in that region. So we want to focus on it, and we want to really encourage the government system to come up and also help to expand it and do that. It has potential to be like Entebbe International Airport. The first phase of the project is estimated to cost $143 million, approximately 529 billion Uganda shillings. The sector is currently engaging the African Development Bank. Of course, they have shown interest, but we are still at an engagement level. The airport will initially be designed as a Code 4E airport with the biggest aircraft will be a B777 as a design aircraft. Usually when we are designing these airports, we have a maximum designed aircraft that can land there, and for now we think that this 777 would be adequate for our purpose, but with potential to upgrade it later. The airport will initially be designed, yes. Environmental social impact assessments has been, and feasibility studies in compliance with the public investment management system has been undertaken, and the Ministry of Finance has sought for clearance of the funding from African Development Bank. So soon we shall embark on that development. We plan also to upgrade Kasese into the same size of airport, fully equipped with the paved runway, associated taxiways and aprons and other facilities. This is inspired by the need to promote cross-border traffic, tourism and cargo transportation. Again, just to remind Ugandans that there is a lot of potential in that part of western Uganda. Kasese is really a sleeping giant because of the physical features of that area and the big game that you find in those facilities. And it can also, of course, be connected to even the Mugahinga areas of the primates and others. So, again, sleeping giants in that region. The master plan and details of engineering designs are completed. Land was acquired, and with existing, could be merged with existing 168 hectares, and is fenced off. The China State Engineering Construction Company has shown interest, and we have signed an MOU. Of course, again, not yet concluded. The technical and financial proposals have been forwarded to Ministry of Finance for possible for finalized and funding arrangements. The upgrade of Guru as an international airport is being, of course, fast-tracked to facilitate AFCON. The project is expected to be undertaken by an Egyptian firm, Samco. Again, studies have been done, designs have been done, and all what we are remaining with is the approval of the funding. And together with the road, I think moving into Rira, connecting it to Akiboa Stadium in Rira City. This is what I was telling you about. Our harmonized building, this is the harmonized terminal building, the land side will look like this. This is just part of the land side, not the whole of it. And that is the bridge. This is the front view after harmonization. Please look at it very carefully. That's how it will look like. Of course, we still need to inject in some bit of money, as I told you. Harmonizing an existing building and building you'd rather build a new one. But we have no way of throwing out what we have, especially when we continue to operate, to use it for our current operations. But we are trying very hard, and I want to thank the UCAA team, the board, the UCAA team, and all other stakeholders who are really putting their head together to have this kind of thing. I can assure you, once we complete it, many people who left this country 2-3 years ago will not know that they have come back to Uganda. And I am assuring you on this, but of course the hurdle is to get enough of the fund. The future plan, we want to host the International Federal Air Traffic Controllers Association. Uganda will also host Association of African Aviation Training Organization. These are areas where we are very, very active on the globe, but also on the continent. The challenge is here. And since I am addressing the country through our media platforms as well, Uganda is a landlocked country. Other people want to call it land-linked. Our future development plans, our future transport, the most reliable transport is actually air transport. We are trying to have discussion with government to make it one of the highest strategic objectives of government as aviation. They have already started, of course, with the airline, but there are quite a number of things that we want to see done, because the airline alone won't promote aviation industry on its own. It, of course, will be a major part of it. But we think that funding should be improved, especially to address our current master plan. And on Entebbe, we are somewhere. But of course, as you have seen what I have indicated higher in the last three, I think the last 3 slides, there is a lot to do with our upcountry aerodromes. Again, land in this country has become a problem. We must prioritize land for public investment, especially airport expansions, starting with Entebbe and elsewhere, in accordance with our master plan. Government debt, and here I want again to be clear on this. Sometimes I think even officials of government believe that maybe we get money from the consolidated fund. They come and pick facilities. They are facilitated in our facilities, not knowing that what we do actually is a cost recovery. What we invest in this is actually what we charge is always proud back in these facilities. But some, and unfortunately the government entities, think that these are mere government facilities where the consolidated budget will always come in. And because of that, there is a big government debt. The current debt stands at 166 billion Uganda shillings. Can you imagine it? If we go to this money, we would complete Kasese or Arua. Sometimes we are not saying this because we don't have money, but our services at times are taken for granted and they are not paid for a long time. Yes, we appreciate that some government departments are also not very adequately financed, but if we are to get all this money, we would do wonders in some of these facilities. 166.6 billion Uganda shillings is out there in government debt. And of course, there are efforts of government agencies to have the debts cleared, especially through our board and the Ministry of Works and Transport. But it had better be cleared sooner than later. Aviation needs to be mainstreamed at a strategic national level. This is what I was saying, so that we are able to see this sector because of its multiplier effects to other sectors. Let me tell you, there is no tourism here without aviation. This one I can tell you with a lot of authority. If you want to know that, just go back to the time of COVID. The mere fact that the airport, the Entebbe International Airport was closed, there was absolutely no activity in the national parks. There was, I don't think that you saw anybody here. There was nobody even sleeping in these facilities, these hotels, except a few Ugandans who want to rest a little bit, but not so much. Even other activities like tour operators, they were all quiet, all silent. I can tell you that. So that actually, if nobody learns the importance of aviation at that time and air transport, should have known at that time. So you may not get this. You may not get this directly, but there are always indirect benefits that we see. We've tried, of course, to compute the contribution of aviation to the economy of the country. It is too enormous.